My hair has been like this for about a month now. When I do my hair, I like to, finish it off with a little Got to Be glue spray, just to keep it in place. Well, I didn't have any more Got to Be glue spray, so I used this Gorilla Glue spray. Bad, bad, bad idea. Y'all, look, my hair, it don't move. You hear what I'm telling you? It don't move. I've washed my hair 15 times. Watch. Look, y'all, look, you wipe it off and nothing happens. Like, this is the life that I'm living at this point. Like, this is the life that I guess I'm gonna have to live. Yeah. Look. And it don't move. Stiff wear. Woo! My hair. So I'm gonna tell y'all like this. If you ever run out of Got to Be glue spray, don't ever use this.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you are tuning in. My name is Jonathan Torres-Herrera, and you are watching or listening to the JTH show. Today, let's talk about what's up with the Gorilla Glue hairdo, why no COVID tests for illegal immigrants, and does it pay to be a racist nowadays? Apparently it does. But first, roll the intro. All right, welcome back to season 2 of the JTH show. I was just mentioning in episode 100, which is my thank you episode to everyone that has watched, everyone that is watching, whether you started watching from way back in episode 1 or you just started watching last week. It doesn't matter. Thank you for watching. One of the biggest things for any creator is for people to interact, for people to watch. I think there is no bigger prize than that, right? Because, you can get big as a creator and have all these different people coming at you, throwing you sponsorships. But you know what? None of that will happen. And none of that could happen without you, the viewer. So thank you, for any of you guys, any amount of you guys that take time out of your day to watch our show. And with that, let's get right into it, shall we? So there's a couple articles. I was not aware that this was trending, that this was going viral up until I really came across the article from the New York Post. And that starts with the headline, Tessica Brown, woman in Gorilla Glue hair horror, may sue over ordeal. Now, some of you guys might know the lawsuit that I'm about to reference here, and that is the infamous McDonald's coffee case, or also called the hot coffee lawsuit. Now, this one happened way back in the early 90s. It actually went to court. It is the Liebeck versus McDonald's restaurants, and I'm pulling this up from Wikipedia. And I want to mention this one before we go back into the Gorilla Glue Girl case, because here we have a case, for instance, in the McDonald's one, where you have, according to, again, Wikipedia information, you have in February of 1992, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman from Albuquerque, New Mexico, ordered a 49-cent cup of coffee from the drive-thru window of a local McDonald's restaurant. Liebeck was in the passenger seat, right, of a 1989 Ford Probe, which did not have cup holders. Her grandson parked the car so that Liebeck could add cream and sugar to her coffee. Liebeck placed the coffee cup, okay, just visualize it, between the persons, the 79-year-old woman, between her knees, and pulled the far side of the lid to remove it. Okay, now what happens? Some of you guys will understand this very well. I was a cable tech, and this happened to me all the time. The moment you remove that lid, what happens to the actual cup? Especially if it's one of those like cardboard ones, it does this, right? The lid is really what's holding the damn thing in place. So what happens if this lady was holding the cup to, I don't maybe with too much force, it just squeezed it squished it, I'm sorry, and everything came out flying. Now, in this particular lawsuit, the old lady got burned, and I guess it was really serious, all the way up to like 3rd-degree burns, which is crazy. I mean, those are some serious injuries, right? So in this particular case, the article goes on to say that they try to go back to McDonald's and say, hey, I've suffered damage, burns, and have caused a crazy amount of bills or medical bills, and I would like you to pay for some. McDonald's declined, which then, the person went to get a lawyer. Now, ultimately, the case ruled in her favor, and she ended up winning, right? There's going to be very, very many different iterations of the story, different opinions. You even have in the same article in Wikipedia, supposedly the ABC News called it the poster child of excessive lawsuits, because at one point she was awarded $2.86 million. It's a lot of damn money. Now, it was reduced by a judge to $640,000. Either way, you look at this case and you're like, okay, well, again, you can spin this very many different ways, right? McDonald's was serving coffee that was way too damn hot. It wasn't necessary. So it's an accident. Now, let's go back to the case that, we're looking at today, right? In modern time. This is not the 90s anymore. This is, what is this, 20-something years later. And many other cases have happened, I'm sure, between the famous McDonald's case and this one right now, that it's about to become a case. Now, the TMZ site, they gave you just the rundown, the basics, right? What happened essentially is this person went viral on TikTok for putting Gorilla Glue. At the beginning of the clip here, you saw clips or little, segments that our editor put together to show you that she ran out. She's the one that says she ran out of hairspray, and she's like, oh, look, this looks like a hairspray bottle. Let me grab this real quick. It must do the same. Of course, it doesn't. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Because unlike hairspray that you wash off, right, and it's meant to be put on hair, you cannot do that with Gorilla Glue, right? And it's getting to the point where, how ridiculous is it, right? That she goes on a TikTok video, goes viral, has I don't know how many freaking millions of views. She says it was a bad idea, and goes to the ER. The ER can't help her. Calls. That's my dog in the background if you guys can hear her. Calls, I guess, Gorilla Glue themselves. And I don't even know how that call might have gone. Imagine like ring and it's like, hello, Gorilla Glue or whatever that it goes, right? And she's like, hi. So how can I get your product out of my hair? And, can you imagine getting that call? You're like, excuse me? The crazy part of this, guys, is that you have someone who is on TikTok saying, my bad, my fault. Yes, I understand that, but I need to sue now because what? It doesn't say in the bottle that you shouldn't put it on yourself. This is beyond ridiculous. Now, I want to mention that in the New York Post article, it says that Tessico Brown hired an attorney and is weighing litigation against Gorilla Glue because while the product label warns against using on eye, skin, and clothing, it does not mention hair.
It's it's absolutely insane, really, isn't it? Like, what's under my hair? Well, nothing, obviously. There's skin there as well. I don't know what to make of it, really. It's like you guys really outdo yourselves when it comes to the like you said in the other article, like court cases, ridiculous court cases. It's great. I mean, it's really fun to watch. Well, it looks like Dr. Obeng. Well, he found a good way to publicize his services, and the same way that this lawyer who is going to try and sue Gorilla Glue for whatever is going on here. I don't know what to make of it. Going back to the coffee one, I mean, I didn't realize that McDonald's was serving molten lava for coffee, because that's insane. 3rd-degree burns. How hot is that frickin' coffee? That is, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, according to this, by the way, 180 to 190 Fahrenheit or 82 to 88 Celsius.
But I thought on the lids it says caution hot, right? Or was that a result of this?
That's another thing that was a result of this is that supposedly after that they ended up putting like labels on it. Not that it wasn't effing obvious already, right? You're ordering coffee,
Right.
so that's why that case supposedly was so controversial back then, because it's, a lot of people saw it as like, really, like hundreds of people get coffee from McDonald's all the time, and this hasn't been really a thing. But okay, fine. Again, I bring up this case because not only because of its controversy, but because, okay, you can look at it as an actual accident, right? Someone that unfortunately, had a cup between her knees, and, upon removing the lid, squeezed probably the cup too hard, things come out flying and burn herself. That is an actual accident, right? She didn't plan to do this. She didn't go out and say, today I wake up feeling like having 30-degree burns on my body. Let's go get some coffee. Meanwhile, you have someone like, what's her name? Tasika, right? It's her name. Who willingly, she's on a TikTok video willingly saying, I ran out of this hairspray, so I'm going to use this hairspray and see kind of how it works. And then says, oh my God, my hair has been stuck like this for a month. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Like, what? Like, what do you expect? Like, what was your reaction? Like, what do you think? You're going to like literally wash this out after a week? I feel bad for the woman. I genuinely do. Okay. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. I feel bad for her, but I cannot help to find this hilarious, because now it's like, we're going to go ahead and put essentially a dummy, I don't know what do you call it, a warning, I guess. I don't know what else, label, whatever, right? To say, don't put this on your hair. So we mentioned don't put it on your, like the article says, on your eyes and your skin. And it, what ran through her mind is saying, oh, but they didn't put it, they didn't say not my hair. So maybe my hair is fine. It's just, are we going to start putting labels like, here's a list of things that you shouldn't do with glue. Don't put it on your ass. Don't put it on your, like on your armpits. Don't put it on your armpits in case, I don't know why you would, but don't put it on your armpits. It's ridiculous that this is even, unfortunately, news, but it's everywhere, right? Now, of course, you have tons of people here, saying, hey, on Twitter, by the way, I'm seeing comments saying, no, duh, are you serious? Like, just shave your hair. Now, the part what makes me feel kind of bad is that I guess there's some people claiming that, potentially this could result in her having a actual like damage to her scalp, right? Which is horrible. I don't wish that upon her, of course, and I feel bad for that. But other than that, it's like going as far as saying I'm going to sue Gorilla Glue. It's ridiculous, man. But yeah, I mean that's the story, guys. That's in case you guys were wondering, like, what is this whole Gorilla Glue thing? And if you guys are seeing that's really the gist. Somebody that decided to be really, really smart, put that thing on their head. Her hair has been stuck for a month, I believe. She said on the video like that. She's washed it out or tried to. She's gone to the yard. No one can fix it. Gorilla Glue is like, we don't know what to tell you. We make the product to do exactly the opposite of what you want to do, which is undo something, right? Undo the adhesive. And now there's a lawyer a doctor in LA who is saying, hey, we might be able to help you. Come on down. We're going to do it essentially for free. But let's see what we can do. And like Josh said, both the lawyer and the surgeon, or I don't know what his official title is, the doctor, are going to get pretty good press out of this. But guys, don't do stupid shit like that, please. Like that, come on. Like, critical thinking, guys. Come on. See why I say it all the time? So people probably get tired of it. Like, JT's always saying critical thinking. This is why. For people like that. This is why I say it. Anyways, and with that, let's go on to the next story.
Yeah. So the next one that is actually coming out of the Daily Wire. I mean, we all know that the Daily Wire has a lot of satirical kind of stories. This one, I don't think is actually a satirical story because there's a little video that actually goes along with this one. So the headline from the Daily Wire is Texas Sheriff, it's absolutely true that Biden is releasing illegals into the U.S. without COVID tests.
I love how the Daily Wire has that picture of people just running that they think that portrays illegals. Like that's the image that they have of illegals, is that they all run like that, they all look like that. It's just, sorry, I find it amusing.
Right. kind of like deserty backgrounds, people with like baseball caps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's pretty much
That's illegal. That's illegal, man. You better not be worrying that you better not have that in your wardrobe, or you'll be dubbed illegal.
Actually, funnily enough, this was one of the many stories I found from our sources that are bashing Joe Biden. So remember, critical thinking, guys. When you're consuming your news, just remember where you're consuming it from. Just a little disclaimer. But moving on with the story. AJ Louderback, sheriff of Jackson County in Texas. Fun fact, JT told me before filming that Selena, is actually from Jackson County in Texas. If you've been watching the series on Netflix, we're not sponsored, but Netflix, if you're watching,
Call me.
Anyway, so sheriff of Jackson County in Texas told Fox News host Tucker Carlson on Monday night that it was absolutely true that the Biden administration was releasing illegal immigrants into U.S. communities without giving them a COVID-19 test. Okay, let's get a little bit more into this. It's absolutely true, Louderback said. It's even if I can continue, Tucker, the memo that I received this last week, it's essentially a defund the ICE by memo. It's a message to the world. You can come here illegally. You could commit crimes here against Americans and remain here illegally. Let's dissect that, shall we? So, I want to remind you, anyone who's watching, I'm living here in Mexico. I want to tell you how many freaking United States citizens I have seen here not using their face masks. So many people who went to Cancun or the state of Quintana Roo last year who came back positive with COVID because they don't give a crap about the protocol about COVID, okay? So let's just remember that little tidbit before moving on. And moving on from that. So Louderbeck said that the policies of the Biden administration when it comes to the southern border and immigration are going to get hurt, seriously injured, killed. Dun, dun, dun. And then last thing that Louderbeck said was that the policies would cause irreparable harm and the law enforcement officials are worried.
Sure. Yeah, of course they are. So let me add that he could have said a lot more and made a lot more sense if he would have broken his arguments down in a more, in a more detailed, more grounded manner, right? Do I believe that people, by the way, including illegal immigrants, should be given a COVID test? Sure. I think that anybody that wants one should be able to get one, right? We're not talking about the vaccine anymore. We're just talking about a test that if someone feels like, hey, I have pretty much just been dragged into a cell with a whole bunch of other people and I may be released back, right, into society, I should be able to ask for a test. Why is that important? Well, because a lot of the times when some of these individuals are essentially just, corralled, that's really what happens, right? With these border patrol agents and ICE going out to work sites and stuff like that. A lot of the times there's nothing wrong there. There's nothing wrong that is happening in their work site when it comes to the pandemic, the virus, right? They're working outdoors, a lot of them. And hey, listen, again, they're working, right? And then they get corralled, then they get apprehended, then they get dragged into jail with who knows who. By the time they are released, I think they should be given a test because I'm going to give you an example. If I myself right now would be apprehended, right, and accused of being illegal, doesn't matter if I am or not, right? Because you cannot tell me, by the way, that you believe every person that's ever apprehended is because they're illegal. A lot of times you'll get picked up right with everyone else, right? If you can't present, that you are here legally. I don't know about you, but I don't know how many people walk around with their birth certificates, right, in their pockets. So trust me, I have seen and heard of cases where people that were born in the United States happen to not have the appropriate documentation. And appropriate documentation, again, is a very loose term, right? That ICE agents and Border Patrol agents can use to apprehend people that they feel are here illegally. Again, I have personally heard of cases. Now, I'm just saying I'm not just saying this hypothetically. Okay, so you get apprehended, you get thrown into a cell, right, until you are processed and really looked into thoroughly. And in the meantime, you are in there sometimes with more than just a few people, sometimes 2-3 dozen people, right? And this is not, by the way, just illegals being, incarcerated. You are thrown in with Gen Pop, depending on how long it takes to process your case. I had a cousin not too long ago, unfortunately, that was deported. And in the meantime, he was thrown in with Gen Pop. If you know what Gen Pop is in a prison, it's literally just general population, just everyone, right? Okay, so what happens? If you are in a position, right, for whatever reason, your judge, your case, your lawyer, whoever, decides to temporarily release you back into the United States until we can get another further date down the line to go see a immigration judge, you are released with God knows what on you that you just contracted. Why? Because everybody's sharing the same toilet. Everyone sometimes is sharing, from what I hear, silverware. Like, it's crazy, the stories that have come out. Again, guys, these people are not being apprehended and then sent to a 5-star, Hilton hotel, right? So what happens is when they're released, they could have contracted at the bare minimum, especially now, COVID, if not anything else. So they should be given a test, because guess what? If they go back and they get sick, they should be able to go back and say, hey, I got sick here. I've been working for the past X amount of days at whatever job I work in, right? And I got apprehended and then got released, and all of a sudden I contracted COVID, and I'm about to go back to my neighborhood, to my family, and basically spread it there. So if anything, the prisons or the jails or whoever's holding these individuals should have a level of responsibility of testing them before they get released. Now, they should be testing even before they come in, because if we're trying to allegedly prevent super spreading events, not to, I want to mention something we already talked about, like the freaking Super Bowl that happened, last weekend, right? Where we mentioned that one episode. We don't want to do that, right? We're always worried about creating super spreader events. At the bare minimum, we're worried about creating even micro spreading events where, again, a person can go back home and contract his or her entire family, and then those family sometimes have to go out and work, and then you get the picture. Okay, so do I feel that people should be tested? Yes. Now, it would be different if this article says, oh, we're releasing illegals without vaccinations. Now, hold on. I would say, screw you. Because while I am not an anti-vaxxer, I do believe people have the freedom of choice. And you should not be obligated, coerced into getting a vaccination that, perhaps you don't believe in. I don't agree with you many times. For those of you guys who are like, oh, preach that JT. No, stop it. I believe that we have certain freedoms, right? And that we should respect them, whether we like it or not. Just like there are many other freedoms, at least here in the United States, that are awarded to its citizens. And whether we like them or not, we have to respect them. Freedom of what? Religion. Freedom of what? Of carrying a weapon, right? Or having and owning a weapon. There's many freedoms. Freedom of speech. I don't agree with everything you say, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, don't say that, don't say this. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite when it comes to the freedom of choosing to get vaccinated. So if this article went on and said, oh, releasing them without giving them the vaccine, I would say, well, yeah, because they shouldn't feel like, oh, you're an illegal. Oh, we caught you. We're going to vaccinate you like you're some kind of dog, right? That we catch wild in the streets. No, but it's talking about testing. Testing, now, I think we can all agree, is important and should be available pretty much to anyone, especially, again, if you're the one that picked me up, you're the one that put me in a cell with a whole bunch of other people that I don't know where they come from, and now I potentially have COVID. And if I get released again back into society to say, okay, go back to your family, Jonathan, I don't know if I just picked up COVID. Yes, I know people are going to be like, well, isn't that the COVID centers? That's what they're for, or the vaccine centers or the testing centers. Hold on. Again, you pick me up, ICE. You pick me up, Border Patrol. You should be giving these tests. But in this particular article, this, and again, just my opinion here, this sheriff put it out like, oh my God, panic. And then, of course, the Daily Wire, being the Daily Wire, they put that picture where all these like people are running. It's like, what is that? What are you trying to say, right? It's like danger, danger, danger.
You know what? You know what though, JT? You know what the sad thing about it is? It's like for any Proud Boy, for any Patriot Party supporter, you know what their argument against testing illegals would be? Who's going to pay for it?
Oh my God.
They're going to say it's the taxpayer. It's like, why should we Americans be able to pay for them taxes for bloody immigrants and stuff like that? It's like, well, hold on a second. Like you just said, it's like testing should be something that is a human right. Doesn't matter what country you come from, doesn't matter who pays for it. We all have the right to live, I think. You know, I think we can all agree with that everybody has the right to live, right?
I hope so. And I get it. By the way, that's a good point that you're bringing up of like who's going to pay for it. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I think about it too, right? It does come through my mind. But at this point, we're arguing the well-being of thousands, if not more, right? Thousands of people that potentially can contract this virus because we didn't test. Probably a few hundred. You cannot tell me. Run the numbers yourself if you want. Go do all this freaking research, but potentially spreading hundreds of thousands of people because you're not testing a couple hundred people. It just doesn't make any sense, right? So is it going to cost money? Yes, but I hope you also understand, like you said, Josh, for those people that are probably watching, they're like, yeah, but you're still not saying who's going to pay for it. I get it. I also took economics, and I'm a big advocate of having government spend the money well. However, we have seen plenty instances where it is not spent correctly or for the people, right? So again, just think about it critically here. You know, we send money in the millions to other countries, right? It doesn't make any sense for us to sit here and argue those points of like, oh, well, who's going to pay for the testing? I understand it's just another expense, but perhaps we can take away from all the millions of dollars, look it up yourself, we send to other countries, right? Or even all the bonuses that we give out to all of our bureaucrats. We have to figure out, hey, it's worth, unfortunately, having to spend in this program, right, to make sure that people that we're really releasing back into U.S. Gen Pop do not get contracted or are not passing this thing around. Versus like right now, it's like, we're not going to do it. But again, this sheriff didn't necessarily put it out there, put his concern rather out there, I think in the most constructive way, because he's looking at it from a very biased, some might say even bigoted point of view, right? Making it seem like fear. You could have done the same thing, made your same point by putting this in a more constructive manner and saying, hey, this is why we should.
That's something that we need to take into consideration when it comes to this whole COVID situation. Instead of being that kind of, no pun intended, trying to wash our hands of other people's situations, we need to really look at the big picture. We're all in this together as humans. This is not just something which affects Americans. This is not just something that affects, or US citizens, sorry. This is not just something that affects people from Mexico or from the UK or from Spain or from France or from Russia or from China or from wherever. This is something that affects the human race. And that's just all something that we have to bear in mind.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I cannot agree more. And speaking of racist and bigoted news, let's go into something that I found interesting. Okay. And that is an article here from NBC News saying country star Morgan Wallen. I had no idea, by the way, who this was until I started seeing his name pop up. I think, Josh, you didn't know who it was either, right?
No idea. So
it says, sees album sales spike despite industry backlash over N-word video, right? So this individual, if you don't know, was caught saying on video the N-word, right? He slurred it out. He apologized for it. For a moment there, I think some labels might have dropped him or at least halted any kind of further business dealings. And there was like all this, again, industry backlash, as the article says. Now, the funny thing here is that instead of him seeing a further cancellation, right, he actually saw a spike in his digital album sales. According to the article, 1,220%, which is insane. So what does that tell us, really? Is what I was actually asking Josh earlier. What does that really tell us about what is happening in the world? To be quite frank with you, I think that the whole cancel culture, the whole we're going to eliminate this person from their, or rather take away their stardom, whatever hell titles they give these celebrities, right? I think that it's a hypocrite statement nowadays. And I've said it before in other episodes that we cancel who we, one, think we can cancel. Two, we cancel, and I say we, by the way, I'm generalizing here, right? What you see out there. People to make some type of political statement unless they are big, and I mean big, like, they are loved by many. Then we temporarily, halfway, quarter way cancel them. And then again, this is a clear indicator of what happens afterwards. Now, could it be possible, like, Josh was saying earlier, that maybe just people were interested in saying, okay, well, let's see how good his music is. Maybe. But I guess using the N-word is not that serious then, right? That it still allows people to feel like, yeah, he did it, but let's go see his music, right? If anything, this proves yet again what they say, right? One of the oldest sayings about being in entertainment is there is no such thing as bad press, or bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity or something like that. And again, it also, at least from my point of view, solidifies, my point that this is one of those, like, we'll go ahead and cancel someone depending on how relevant you are, how cool you are, how popular, whatever, right? Whatever term you want to use. And then just like, we'll forget about it later. Do you think this is going to hold up? No. This new fame, this new audience, the guy probably discovered, right? People playing their music in the background. This has only helped them. Really. That's really what it has done. And unfortunately, that has proven to be true with many different artists. Here's one quick example that people are going to be like, oh, we're going to cancel you just for saying that. Ready? Michael Jackson. What? How dare you? What are you saying about Michael Jackson? I'm just saying what I think everybody knows that I'm saying, right? Even now that guy has passed away, nobody will touch him, no matter what has come out or will come out of the man, right? Fine. You don't want to go as far as Michael Jackson? Okay, fine. Let's stick with someone that's alive, right, and doing well. And we're gonna go to people like how, at least from what I have seen, yes, these are conspiracies, right? TC Keegan, I think is her name. Chrissy Teigen, I believe is her name. Not that I'm sure we'll put a picture of her. She is married to a famous singer, John Legend. And there's been all these weird rumors about her and her tweets and stuff like that she's put out over the years about liking kids and stuff like that. Like, again, really inappropriate tweets. The same has been said about like Tom Hanks. Again, really weird shit that they'll put out there. But again, it gets brushed off most of the time as like, meh, conspiracies, right? You have had like the video that I put out about, the guy that, I guess he's dead now, according to many sources. But people don't believe he's dead, which is that, that guy that had the island, what was his name again? I did the whole video on him.
I know. Jeffrey Epstein.
There we go. Right. And how many people were related to Jeffrey, or at least not related by, I don't mean to say related by like blood or anything, but just, have been seen with him, right? Very friendly. They're still up and walking, and they're still millionaires and gajillionaires. And guess what? Did we cancel them? No, not really. It's just like, oh, you guys had like some like getaways, and That's about it. That's, oh my God, the Bill Clinton was at his island. And it's like, that's about it. Yet we have Clinton literally, what was it, less than a month ago at this point, at Capitol Hill, inaugurating the new president. But yet we have pictures of the same guy, right? And these fly logs that he was really friendly with one of the most, at this point, notorious traffickers, probably child abusers, God knows what else, right? This monster. But again, same guy, Bill Clinton, there with the new president. So, what does that tell us about this whole bullshit cancel culture? Is that it picks and chooses what it cancels, when it cancels. So again, this guy, saying the N-word, and by the way, TMZ had like an actual transcript of the whole thing, and I'll give you a little bit of literally what he said. So according to again the TMZ, in a video they publish, he is in his home state of Tennessee and shouting to a friend, ready? Hey, take care of this P ass mother F. Kind of get where I'm going with this. Take care of this P ass I know it's hard because you're like, what the hell did he just say? I know that's how much he was cussing. But at the end, he basically saying it's, some wussy ass N-word. Right? And, it's just like canceled temporarily, kinda.
First of all, I just want to say this guy is a complete idiot for saying what he said. Because if you're any kind of public figure, you have to choose very carefully what your words are, no matter how drunk you are or whatever. I'd never heard of the guy before, but I understand he was probably kind of big in the country world, where they all sing about their hometown and whiskey and stuff like that. I'm not going to shame anybody for listening to country music either. That would kind of suck. But what this guy said was really dumb. I think he's, like you said, he's only temporarily cancelled. Yes, he has seen some album sales, or what is seen to be album sales these days. I mean, how many people have actually bought an iTunes record or actually downloaded music? No, everybody streams it. And like I was saying to you earlier, I think a lot of people are just like, oh, this guy said something racist. Let's check out his music. And that's pretty much it. That's going to be the last that the mainstream media actually hears something about this guy.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but I guess that's it with that. Anyways, we'll leave it there for now. We'll see what happens. Like Josh said, if there's more relevant updates, we'll bring them to you guys so you guys can tell us your point of views. And like we've been asking you guys, interact with us. We are truly here to have a conversation, even if when you guys don't necessarily agree with us. We're okay with that. It's a freaking conversation. That's all it is. We can still be friends. Okay? At least that's what I think. Right? But until next time, see ya.